Welcome back to Estate Agency Experts, where we chat with the leading professionals about the trends shaping estate agency today. In this episode, I'm joined by Pernilla Tweddle, Marketing Director at PropertyStream, a company that's helped estate agents refine their branding, build high-performing websites, and stand out online for over a decade. In our conversation, we talk about overcoming reliance on property portals by strengthening your own website and online presence, SEO essentials to help you rank higher in Google and reach more clients, creating a great user experience so visitors actually stay on your website and convert, and social media tips to showcase properties and engage your audience. If you're looking for a blueprint to sharpen your brand, attract more leads organically, and reduce reliance on property portals, this interview is packed with actionable ideas. Let's jump in. PropertyStream. Hi Pernilla, thanks for coming on.
Hiya, hello.
Can you give us a bit of a history on PropertyStream and how you help estate agents?
Yeah, sure. So we've been going for over 10 years now. Essentially, it started under the brand name 22 Group. So we worked across industries and helping people with companies with website branding and marketing. But then we soon quickly started specializing in property. We had real success with the YouMove website about 10 years ago, and that kind of really put us into that kind of world of property. So today, about 80% of our business is within property. So we work with estate agents just like you, and yeah, so we do website branding and marketing.
Oh, lovely. Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think I speak to a lot of estate agents in my role as like an IT account manager. And it's one of the reasons, well, the reason we wanted to get someone on from a sort of web design SEO company was we're having a lot of conversations with people at the moment about the sort of reliance that estate agents have on property portals, on Rightmove and Zoopla. There's a lot of talk at the moment about that the sort of prices are going up, and people are worried that they're so reliant on the leads coming through from the portals. And because the prices are going up, they feel a bit trapped by that.
Yeah.
I thought a sort of web design SEO company would be great to get on to talk to, because I feel like people are talking about that's like a potential resolution to that issue. Is that something that you're hearing from your estate agency contacts?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, to be honest, I think estate agents have had that kind of conversation and self-reflection for quite a few years now, but it's certainly becoming more prominent. I think the portals still have a role to play. But there has been huge kind of not moving away from them, because most agents are still very much tied into those contracts and feel they need to obviously advertise their properties through them. And for the time being, they probably do. But there is, as you said, there is a real sort of, I guess, an aspiration that one day they don't have to, and they can be self-sufficient in promoting both their properties and their businesses. But yeah, so we do come across the same kind of arguments. And yeah, you're right. The way to get there will be to have to kind of look inwards and say, well, how do we appear as a business, and how do our properties appear if we were to get rid of the portals and just advertise them ourselves? So the two things that come in mind is what you've just mentioned there. Obviously, website and SEO are critical. And then the other part that we can maybe talk about a bit is social media. So yeah, no, we do have these conversations. And the thing to do is really to make sure, like I said, that really your brand is up to scratch, that you're presenting your business in the best way. And that starts with a decent website that is going to build kind of trust. It's going to build engagement. And it's not going to get people to turn away. So what you want them to, once they find you, you want them to get that kind of real good feel, social proof really that you're a business they want to do business with. So having a good website, it starts with that, but then of course having people find you. So if you're not going to get your properties advertised on the portals, you need to make sure that they're obviously on your website in the best way possible, and then you need to get your website ranking. So that's where SEO comes in. So we do offer that to our clients and also some of our non-clients. So you don't necessarily have to have a website built by us in order for us to work on SEO, but it is a critical part of your marketing. And I don't think I can stress that enough, because as the kind of advertising world has changed, you're no longer spending lots and lots of money on like press advertising or other forms of advertising, maybe even canvassing or direct mail, that kind of thing. Although that still plays a part in my book. But you should really be kind of repurposing that money and putting it into digital marketing, which SEO falls under. So by looking at how your website is ranking, how you can be found, and using a good sort of SEO supplier to support you with that, is going to be the best solution. And there are certain things, a lot of agents ask, what can we do ourselves? There are certain things that they can do, but there's a lot of things that they probably need expert help with doing, because you're talking about Google's algorithm and how those users who are typing in properties in their area or local estate agent in their area, how Google then decides to present you as a business within the search results depends very much on these algorithms that they have.
Yeah.
So lots of things that they need to think about. Certainly SEO, we tend to split into local SEO and core SEO. Local SEO is where the business will get found on the Google Maps, which is critical because a lot of people use Google Maps to find any form of businesses, and that will include estate agents. So you need to make sure that your business is ranking well on Google Maps. Certain things you can do to make that happen. People used to think it's just about reviews. That's a critical part, and that's something that our clients or estate agents can do themselves, making sure they have good social proof and kind of online reputation. Through
Is that Google reviews the most important at that point?
Yeah, I would say Google reviews. I do think it's important that you're kind of trying to get reviews across social as well. So Facebook is a good one to try and get reviews from. But don't forget that Google is the #1 search engine. So that's where most people are going to be searching. So that's why you need to get your Google reviews. A lot of people use Trustpilot and FIFO, that kind of thing. But if they have to choose one, I would always go down the Google route.
Okay.
Yeah, so reviews is something they can do themselves, but there's a lot more you can do to optimize that Google map listing. Something called citation work, which is to make sure that your kind of your name, address, and phone number is all consistent across all online directories. They should also be posting content on their local business profile. That will help with their rankings. So quite a few little tricks there that we either advise clients to do themselves, and we can support to do the bits that are maybe a little bit more technical.
And is that content in terms of like social media content or like blogs on the website, or a mix of both?
Mix of both, and they can definitely post their properties on there, which is interesting.
Okay.
So I would say not the whole property feed, but posting 1 or 2 properties a week through your Google business profile is really good practice. Again, it gives Google the signal that you are posting regular content. It shows them there's a different way to find your properties, i.e. not the portals. And yeah, it just gives off that kind of tells Google you're an active account, and by being an active account with good content, good kind of consistency of naming and categories and things like that, they're going to rank you as a solid business.
Oh, nice. Okay. And is link building still something that's important now in SEO, getting backlinks?
Yeah, it definitely is. So that kind of falls with what I call core SEO. So if we take Google map listings aside for a second, the rest of the listings that appear in Google is the organic listing. So that's when your website, the actual website, will start to rank. So you want people to go there because obviously that's where they're going to find all your properties, all your services. And hopefully you'll get some instructions that way as well. Because don't forget, we're not just trying to get people to find your properties, we're also trying to get you your vendors and your landlords to sign up with you. So yeah, link building is a critical part of core SEO. It's what we call off-page SEO. Link building will help get people to link back to your website, which enhances what's called domain authority. And the higher your domain authority, the more likely Google are to rank you. So that's definitely one of several parts of SEO that you can do, or we would do for you, or an SEO company would do for you. The other thing is obviously on-page SEO, making sure that the content on your website is really kind of top-notch, that you're using keywords that people are searching for, and you are kind of having the right pages and the right level of content that, again, the sort of Google indexing will value.
And that like keyword part is a tricky part, isn't it, really? It's about what are the right keywords people should be using, you know, and I guess it's like just making sure that you're using those words a lot on the content that you're creating, like the density of the words.
Yeah, there used to be such a rule, like you have to use this, estate agent in Manchester. You have to have it at least 10 times on your page. It's not quite like that. Google do change and update their algorithms and their best practice guidelines quite frequently. But, and what they're now really into at the moment, and I can't see that going away, is what's called kind of like natural content. So they want things to be as natural and as real as possible. They don't want to have just keyword stuffing on a page. So you have to get that balance really right. But yes, it is about having, and we will do what's called keyword research. So essentially we just will look at what are actually people searching for. And then it is about having that content, whether it's short form or long form, in the content at some point. But it's more about strategically having it there somewhere in the content rather than repeating it 10, 20 times. So you always want to make sure, think that it should have a natural flow. It should sound like you're talking genuinely to the visitor. So be as natural as possible with it.
I guess I've heard people talking about how using AI and ChatGPT and things like that to create the content for blog posts and social media, whatever it is, can have a negative impact on SEO because they can tell that it's AI written.
Yeah, again, AI is incredible, isn't it? It's moving at such a pace that we're all kind of trying to keep up. But we're doing quite a lot of advancement in AI ourselves as an agency. But yeah, and I think ChatGPT is fantastic. So it can be a tool if it's used right. But it's about what you feed into it. But yeah, you're right. You have to make sure that it's unique content. If it's at all taken from other websites or repeated in an unnatural flow, or it's just stuffed full of keywords because you've asked ChatGPT to put the keywords in, it's not going to work for you. So you've got to be very careful. You've got to be very strategic about how you use these AI tools, I think.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, fair enough. And then I guess, we're talking about SEO, and that's great. So you're now potentially driving some people, to the website.
Yeah.
But like you said before, I think the problem might be then if they get to a website and it's a really poorly designed site, then all that hard work you put in isn't going to help anyway. What are the biggest problems you see with estate agency websites? What are the ones that you look at and go, oh my God, I can't believe they've done that on their homepage?
Yeah, I think it's quite obvious when you see somebody who's possibly spent far too little on it, and that's not me trying to upsell our services at all, but you can tell a really, really poor website that's cost you like £60 off the shelf, but it doesn't let you do, and it doesn't give you any form of flexibility or ways to edit content and make it your own. It's clunky from the beginning. It doesn't move well, so the user experience isn't great. And we know what it's like, even if it's not estate agents, when we're searching for, I don't know, a restaurant or hotel, if you end up on a site where you can't see anything, and also the other thing is on mobile, if it's not responsive, I mean, that's the worst thing, isn't it? It's just a real kind of no-go. So you're gonna move on to the next agent if you get that bad experience at the first time you land on the page. So I think making sure that it is a site that is quick to load, that it's kind of nice and easy to navigate. So the navigation is key. We look quite a lot at navigation and making it as kind of seamless as possible, and also not cluttering it too much. A lot of people think, well, I've heard that it's great to have loads of content, so I'm going to put all this stuff on my homepage. That's not necessarily going to help your user experience. So again, think about Google, but absolutely think about your customers as well. What will they want to see? And they want a good user experience. They want to be able to find those properties with nice property search. They want to be able to read about you in a nice way. They probably want to have some video content and some images, but not in such a format that it slows your site down. So all these kind of elements are what you have to think about. But yeah, I'd say that's the first thing that comes to mind, that it's just you've not, and again, it sounded like I'm upselling, but not at all, but you've just not invested what it takes to have a decent site. And it does not have to cost the earth. That's the other thing. It really doesn't. But you should just see your website as probably your core marketing spend, and investing in SEO to keep it on the highest ranking as possible is something you have to do monthly. So again, it should fall into your monthly budget as opposed to a one-off spend and then think it's going to go away. It is something you need to think about ongoing.
Yeah, it's a really important thing, actually, isn't it? Yeah, because I think a lot of people I've spoken to in the past about SEO, it's seen as like a project, it's something you do once, right? SEO's done now, let's move on. But it really is. You've got to keep doing it forever. It never ends because the algorithm always changes. You've got to keep up with the content. Everything's going to be fresh.
Yeah, it is exactly that. It's keeping up with the content, which you can do. If you don't necessarily have to commission an agency for that, because you can write your own blogs and you can make sure that you're always refreshing content. But a lot of agents also don't have time for that, and it's not really typically their day job, which is completely understandable. But it's also about, if you don't invest in it, your competitors probably will be. And certainly up against any form of national or bigger agents, they will be pumping a lot of money into SEO, which basically means that kind of backlink building will be happening at a much quicker rate than if you don't do anything. So again, as soon as you stop the SEO investment, it will fairly quickly possibly be seen that your rankings could start to drop. Having said that, on the sort of the flip side of the coin is that any SEO work we do, the domain authority will sort of stay there forever. But if you stop and the others carry on, that's when you've got a bit of a problem.
Get overtaken.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last thing we haven't talked about yet is sort of social media, because that's another avenue for people. Instead of people having to search and trying to find you that way, is actually get in front of them yourself. So you're putting content out that they're going to see. What are the bigger sort of platforms that you see estate agents using and making most sort of reaping the rewards from most? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, because a lot of people think it's going to be like TikTok or something that's obviously kind of developing at such a quick pace. But I think for this industry, it's still definitely Facebook and Instagram. I would say those two platforms. LinkedIn is really good for our kind of business owners or estate agents to be active on. It's not going to do much for you as a company, LinkedIn, but if your business owners or the key managers are kind of active on LinkedIn, that is a good platform I would always recommend. But coming back to the question about, is there a time when we can replace the portals? Is there a time when they can be kind of without Rightmove and Zoopla? And then I think that's about obviously having your property posts on there. And it's always seen, no matter how many posts and kind of adverts you might put out there or blogs, the one thing that your customers are going to probably engage mostly with is the properties. So, and there's that's when AI can come in. Actually, there's some really clever tools, or just some really nice plug-in and third-party suppliers that can automate that post of properties across your platforms. So I think that's a nice thing to do, and we see quite a few clients doing that, just to make sure that all properties go out, and also not just new properties. Like if it's when it goes to sold, so sold subject to contract, new instruction, reduced if it's a price reduction, kind of keep posting progress on properties as well. And obviously sold, I always tell people, don't forget to really publicize the fact that you've sold or let the property. It's like your 2020 but online, so you're sold to mystery buyers, but take it online. My God, shout about it. So properties, great for social media. At the end of the day, branding is what social media is there for. It's quite a costly lead conversion platform, whereas Google or something like paid ads is going to bring you those leads that you want. But for properties especially, social media is brilliant. And to reach a bigger audience, we always recommend that you just boost those posts as well. So Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, Instagram is a really good platform. It falls nicely for properties, and especially if you've got nice properties and good photography or videography, it's a perfect platform to showcase properties. And I get more and more clients saying we are actually selling and letting homes via social media, and that's again coming back to the point about whether they will become redundant one day, and that's the way to go, is making sure.
Well, I've heard some people say now they are, for some properties, whether it's just the higher end ones or whatever it is, they'll have an amount of time that they'll post up some properties up there for a few days or whatever it is before they then put them on the portal. So they give it a little trial run, put it on, do a walkthrough on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever it's going to be, test the waters with it, and then and then get it on the portals afterwards. Which it's moving in that direction, isn't it?
Brilliant. And again, I see lots of our estate agency clients who do exactly that, and that's a really good way of kind of testing the water. So doing those teaser, listing the property on social media and through your kind of maybe your direct database, of course, and things like that before the portals. And then maybe that period just gets longer and longer, so you might not need to, or basically the conversion gets higher and higher. So eventually you might find that those teaser adverts are just becoming the norm, and that's where you post your properties.
And is that video content? Is that probably the best thing that you'd be saying, or is it a mix. You should be doing all. You should be doing photos of houses as well as video walkthroughs, and you got the 3D video tour stuff now as well.
Yeah, all of that basically. I think there's some
Right.
there's some huge advancement in that, but you should always have a good mix, a balanced mix on your marketing content. So think of static property pictures as what people are still quite used to. That's what they're going to scroll through on Rightmove and Zoopla. So I think making sure that it's good photography, being able to scroll through those as they would on the portals is important. But we know that, again, TikTok has influenced the kind of need for video like by 1,000%. So videos definitely should, and those walkthrough tours are great. 3D virtual tours, and I've seen more and more, certainly on the higher end properties, really commissioning some professional videography and the drone footage and all that, which is fantastic. And I would definitely say that it's worth your while investing in that. It's quickly becoming almost the norm as well.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. That's been really helpful. I think there's some good takeaways there. I think, SEO is important, but I think, like you said, there's lots of aspects to it. There's the local SEO part, getting on maps, and there's some work that people can do themselves there to get on there. Get the core SEO working as well. So it's your backlinks, the content on your website, making sure you're ranking high for actual Google searches on the listings. But then you also got the website itself. When people get there, make sure the design's good, it's not clunky, simple enough for people to read, does what people want to do when they get there. They want to see properties, they want to see what the estate agent's about, branding's on point. And then lastly, social media, make best use of it, get it out there. There's so many different ways you can get content out. It's going to help your SEO. It's going to drive more traffic straight to your website. It's going to keep people going from the property portals. So I think it's been really good. I think it's been a really good sort of overview. Or is there anything else that you had, any other sort of piece of advice you'd want to give to anyone?
I think that's a really good summary, James. You summarised it really well there. No, I think that's great. No, it's been fun to talk. I think you've captured everything. I think people will also, maybe agents also wonder, well, how much? I've only got my marketing budget is only this big, and everybody's telling me they want a slice of it, and I get that. I think the best thing is to probably speak to companies like ourselves and sort of really, because we're quite honest, and say, listen, social media, for example, we don't really kind of have a service to post all your organic posts. We think that should be up to you, but we can guide you and we can recommend tools that will make that job a lot easier for you. But I think something like that should really be managed in-house. So whereas I think some technical SEO stuff is something that you're not going to be able to do and you won't have time to do. But equally, there's the review section within the local SEO that you can manage yourself. So I think don't feel like you have to outsource everything, but have a conversation, and then hopefully you'll speak to the right people and they'll guide you in the right direction, because that's what it's about. And then putting your money where it's best spent, basically your pain points within your business that you can't deliver yourselves. But yeah, just acknowledging the fact that this is a digital world we're living in. It's only going to head one way. So I've got to kind of purpose my marketing budget in that direction.
Makes sense. Yeah. So pick your battles, especially for the smaller estate agents, they haven't got the same budget to the sort of big nationwide brands. Do some of it in-house, whatever you can do in-house. And then, that budget that you do have, make sure it's going to the best place and it's going to have the best results for you as well. So that makes a lot of sense. Talking of being able to find someone that'll be able to help you with this, how do people get hold of PropertyStream if they want some SEO website design?
You can search PropertyStream. It's propertystream.co is our website. You can find us obviously on Facebook and Instagram as well. But yeah, head to our website, have a good look around, and that's where you'll find us.
Amazing. Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Pernilla. It's been really helpful.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks so much for coming on.
No problem.